The plane was losing altitude fast, dropping toward the deep ocean below. Two Black Hawk pilots flying nearby heard a strange voice on their radio. A calm woman said, "Ex-Navy SEAL calls Sign Reaper. I'm taking them down." The pilots froze. What they heard next changed everything. Before you watch, full story comment below from which country are you watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories. In seat 22C, on a flight from Manila to San Francisco, Maya Chen sat quietly with a small notebook in her hands. She wore a plain gray hoodie and jeans. Her hair was tied back in a simple bun. No rings, no watch, nothing special about her. She looked like any tired traveler going home. The man beside her, a young software engineer named Daniel, tried to make small talk. "First time flying this route?" he asked. Maya smiled politely. "Something like that," she said, and went back to her notebook. Daniel shrugged and put his headphones on. He had no idea that the quiet woman next to him had once led some of the most dangerous rescue missions in the world. Maya Chen had left the Navy 8 months ago. For 11 years, she had served as a SEAL, trained in close combat, hostage rescue, and emergency flying. Her call sign was Reaper, a name she earned after a mission in Yemen where she pulled 6 hostages out of a burning building alone, with no backup, in under 3 minutes. She had done things most people could never imagine. But one mission had changed everything. During a rescue attempt 2 years ago, bad information led her team into a trap. 2 of her closest friends died in front of her. After that, Maya could not sleep without seeing their faces. She left the Navy and told herself she was done with violence forever. Now she was studying to become a teacher, flying home after visiting family, hoping for a simple, quiet life. The flight was smooth for the first 2 hours. Then everything changed. A loud noise came from the front of the plane, followed by screaming. Maya's whole body went alert instantly, old training taking over before she could stop it. Passengers stood up, confused and scared. A voice came over the intercom, rough and angry. "Everyone sit down. This plane belongs to us now." The cabin exploded into panic. A baby started crying. Someone near the front was sobbing loudly. Daniel grabbed Maya's arm. "What is happening?" he whispered, his face white with fear. The voice on the intercom spoke again. "We are taking this plane into the ocean. This is our message to the world." Maya's heart dropped. She quickly counted the sounds she could hear. Footsteps, at least 2 different voices, maybe 3 hijackers total. The plane's nose tilted down slightly. They were already descending. She checked her watch. If the hijackers meant what they said, the plane would hit the water in less than 20 minutes. Maya closed her eyes for a moment. She had promised herself no more fighting, no more killing. She was supposed to be a teacher now, a peaceful person. But then she looked around the cabin. A mother nearby was holding her son close, tears running down her face, trying to stay calm for his sake. An old man across the aisle was gripping his wife's hand tightly, both of them silent with fear. A teenage boy near the window was recording a goodbye message for his parents. Maya realized something simple and clear. If she did nothing, all these people would die, and she was the only person on this plane who knew how to stop it. She stood up slowly and walked toward the back galley, moving like someone looking for the bathroom, not like someone about to fight for her life. Along the way, she saw a flight attendant crouched near the emergency radio panel, shaking with fear. Maya gently took the headset from her hands. "I need this," she said quietly. "Trust me." She switched the radio to the emergency frequency used by nearby military aircraft and spoke in a calm, clear voice. "This is former Navy SEAL, call Sign Reaper. Flight is hijacked, 3 hostiles on board, descending toward the ocean. I am moving to take control, requesting immediate support and emergency landing coordinates." There was silence on the radio for a few seconds, then a surprised voice answered. "Say your name again." "Reaper," Maya repeated. "Commander Maya Chen, retired. I need backup now." The pilots of the nearby Black Hawk helicopters could not believe what they were hearing, but they immediately radioed their base and began flying toward the plane's location. Maya put the headset down and moved quietly toward the front of the plane. She spotted the first hijacker standing near the cockpit door, a knife in his hand, watching the pilots. Using her training, she moved close without making a sound. In one fast motion, she disarmed him and knocked him out cold before he even realized what was happening. She took his knife and moved forward. The second hijacker heard a noise and turned around just as Maya reached the first-class cabin. He raised his weapon, but she was faster. She knocked his arm aside and struck him hard, taking him down in seconds. Passengers around her gasped in shock, watching the quiet woman from seat 22C fight like a trained soldier. The third hijacker, the leader, came running from the cockpit area, shouting in anger when he saw his men on the ground. He charged at Maya with a metal pipe. She stepped aside, grabbed his arm, and used his own force against him, throwing him to the floor. He tried to get up, but Maya was already in control. Within seconds, it was over. The fight had lasted less than 2 minutes. Maya was breathing hard, with a small cut on her arm from the struggle, but she had no time to rest. She rushed into the cockpit, where the real pilot was tied up and badly shaken, but alive. She quickly untied him. "Can you fly?" she asked. "I think so," he said, still shaking. "Then let's get this plane back under control," Maya said, sitting beside him to help guide the controls. The plane was still descending fast. Maya checked the altitude and helped the pilot slowly pull the nose up. Her hands were steady, but her mind kept flashing back to Yemen, to the sound of the explosion, to the friend she could not save. She pushed the memory away and focused only on the numbers in front of her. "Throttle up, slow and steady," she told the pilot. "Don't fight the plane, just guide it." The pilot nodded, sweat dripping down his face, and followed her every word. Slowly, the nose of the plane began to rise. The ocean below no longer looked so close. It took several tense minutes, but finally the plane leveled out. The passengers in the cabin cheered and cried with relief when they felt the aircraft steady. Some clapped, some hugged the stranger sitting next to them, and a few simply sat in silence, too shocked to move. Daniel, still in seat 22B, stared at the empty seat beside him where Maya used to sit, unable to believe the quiet woman with the notebook had just saved all their lives. Not long after, the 2 Black Hawk helicopters appeared outside the windows, escorting the plane safely toward the nearest airport for an emergency landing. Inside the cockpit, air traffic control gave new instructions, guiding the pilot toward a runway usually reserved for military aircraft, since the plane's systems had been damaged during the hijacking. Maya stayed beside him the whole time, calmly repeating instructions, helping him adjust speed and altitude as the runway came into view. The wheels touched down hard, bouncing once before settling onto the tarmac. Fire trucks and ambulances were already lined up along the runway, lights flashing, ready for whatever they might find. For a moment, the entire cabin went completely silent, everyone holding their breath, until the plane finally rolled to a stop. Then, all at once, the silence broke into cheering, crying, and clapping, the sound of hundreds of people realizing they were finally, truly safe. When the plane landed safely, emergency crews rushed on board. Maya sat quietly in her seat, exhausted, her hands finally shaking now that it was over. Medics checked the small cut on her arm and wanted her to go straight to the hospital, but she asked for a few minutes first. She wanted to see the passengers safely off the plane before she left. Passengers came up to thank her one by one. The mother with the young son hugged her tightly, tears in her eyes. "You saved my son's life," she said, her voice breaking. Her little boy, who could not have been older than 5, tugged on Maya's sleeve and said, "Are you a superhero?" Maya smiled softly and shook her head. "No," she said. "I'm just someone who knew what to do." The boy did not seem convinced, and neither did his mother. The old man and his wife thanked her softly, telling her they now had more years together because of what she did. The wife took Maya's hand in both of hers and simply said, "Thank you for giving us more time." The teenage boy who had been recording his goodbye video came up and said, "You are the bravest person I have ever seen." He showed her the video he had recorded, still saved on his phone, and asked if he could post it online with her story. Maya hesitated, then nodded. "Just tell the truth," she said quietly. "Nothing more." Even the flight attendant who had given Maya the radio came over, still pale from the fear of the last hour, and simply hugged her without saying a word. A few weeks later, Maya was offered her old rank back in the Navy, but she said no. Instead, she agreed to something smaller, training new recruits part-time, teaching them how to stay calm and make the right choices under pressure. The rest of her time, she spent finishing her teaching degree just like she had planned. Sometimes, at night, she still remembered the faces of her old teammates who did not make it home. But now she also remembered the mother's tears of relief, the old couple holding hands after landing safely, and the teenage boy's grateful smile. Maya realized that her call sign, Reaper, did not have to mean only death. It could also mean protection, someone who stood between danger and innocent people when it truly mattered. The quiet woman in seat 22C was gone that day. But Reaper was still there when the world needed her, ready to answer the call, one last time, when there was no one else who could.